All right, welcome to our latest Swampcast. Here we are in the lovely studios at the Gainesville Sun, where Tricia's gotten the Coke bottles all out of the way and we're ready to go. Robbie, we're going to talk about Florida, South Carolina. No bearing at all on the SEC, but certainly has some bearing on the national championship picture.
Yeah, just like 2 years ago, Pat, the game didn't mean anything until you look back, and if they don't block the field goal at the end of the game, Florida doesn't win the national championship probably.
Or if the guy doesn't go illegal procedure, Sidney Rice's play is wiped out. So.
Yeah, 27-yard play down to the 7-yard line with less than a minute to go. The game was looking over until that flag. You look at the flag, and
that was an amazing thing. But of course, that was 2 years ago. Steve Spurrier's already said that he thinks this Florida team's better, but he thinks his team is better than 2 years ago. He better hope it's better than last year when they gave up 51. And Robbie, that was without Percy Harvin and Rainey and Demps. So their defense for South Carolina better strap it on.
Yeah, they were shredded by injuries last year. And Tebow accounted for 7 touchdowns, and Meyer was saying this week the greatest performance he'd ever seen. But you know, this defense is a whole lot better now. They're healthy. They're ranked #1 in the SEC. It's a tough test for the offense, which is kind of on a roll right now.
They are, and every week we say it's a tough test, and they go out and score in the 40s or 50s, or in one case the 60s. But they've done it with defense and special teams, setting them up on short fields. It's easier to be an effective offense when you get set up on those short fields. And there's no question that this probably is the best defense they've played, though. Yeah,
and in Florida, it looks similar. This run they're on to '96 when we had that run, but that was all offense. Yeah, this is all everything basically.
Well, he did have a couple of quick returns by Kwesi.
Yeah,
Kwesi got a couple, but you know, it's certainly this role they're on is an amazing role, and it's been fun to watch, especially since the Ole Miss game. Robbie, I was talking to Irvin yesterday, and he said part of the problem up to that point was his fault. That he did not believe in the freshman running backs and even Emmanuel Moody, who was a first-year running back, and didn't want to put him out there. And now that once he did, it took off.
Yeah, it really did. And then, you know, you talked to Tebow, too. He was saying early in the year he was tight a little bit, trying too hard to be perfect, trying to make every play. And now he's kind of relaxed and just playing the game again, and the results are pretty impressive.
Well, the whole story seems to be South Carolina's #1 ranked defense against Florida's #1 ranked offense, but let's flip it over to the other side, where you have a Gator defense, much improved this year, has played well. This defense did give up 31 to South Carolina, now different quarterback, but they can't go out and play poorly in this game. And I talked to Charlie Strong today. He said their biggest thing is line up, go play football, and don't give up big plays.
Yeah, exactly. And like Urban Meyer was saying last night, you know, don't let them throw the ball all over you, basically, because South Carolina's ground game is struggling right now. Spurrier's going to try to open up, throw the ball. They've got to shut that down.
Yeah, and it's funny, they're going to go to the alternating quarterbacks most likely. Steven Garcia needs that because he doesn't know the plays, apparently, and he's having a hard time.
He doesn't know when to get rid of the ball either, apparently.
Yeah, he doesn't. So he's the most athletic, way more talented than Chris Smelly, but he's had trouble with that. You know, to me, Robbie, you can't let him have big plays, but you can't let him control the clock either. You can't let him keep that.
That would be the ultimate nightmare for Florida, to have not having the ball all game, which is. You know, they're not used to that. They've gotten over that from a year ago. They want to get out there, get 3 and outs, and get the ball back. Yeah, and it's going to be interesting because South Carolina, as you said, their running game has struggled. Their passing game's not great. There's really only 2 guys you got to worry about. Yeah. And that's McKinley and their tight end, who's unbelievable, Jared Cook, probably going to be the All-SEC tight end. He's a real player. I mean, they get him out in the flats, so he makes a lot of plays. And then, like you said, McKinley's the leading receiver in school history.
They like to run that little kind of corner route, deep corner route with Jared Cook. It's funny, 2 years ago, whatever it was, 2005, I think Charlie Strongcount played a lot of zone because he thought Spurrier was going to try to hit him deep, which he had done in his previous.
And they ran the ball.
And they ran the ball, draw play, and kill Florida that way. Hit some short passes that turned into long ones. 2 years ago, they came out and they played, fairly conservative game, controlling the ball, not letting Florida have it, and almost pulled it off. Last year, there was just too much Tebow. So I'll be interested to see what Charlie throws at him, whether he goes with a lot of man, goes with pressure. If you pressure Steven Garcia, you can make him make mistakes because he's done it in the past.
Yeah, they're going to have to mix it up depending on who's in there. Like you said, when Garcia's in there, get after him. LSU he did nothing in the second half.
My buddy Heath Klein, who's now in Columbia doing radio, told me that some of the callers were saying, if we can just get pressure to Tebow, he'll throw interceptions.
Where is that coming from?
And I'm like, you mean like the other 2 he threw this year? So, no, I think the only way Florida does lose this game is if they don't take care of the ball or if they come out flat. I can't see it, Robbie. Not with what's on the line. It's South Carolina. It's a home game. It's still an important game in the national championship race. It's Steve Spurrier. It's a great defense. I think they're going to be ready to play.
Yeah, there's a lot on the line. If they turn the ball over like Ole Miss, so you're setting yourself up for trouble because you're playing a good defensive team. But take care of the ball, take advantage of your red zone opportunities and win the game.
Bottom line is, if you turn it over, you give anybody a chance, and that's what they have to avoid. I think they're going to be okay. Not much else in the world of college football this week. It's really
this is the game of the week. Really.
Yeah, it is a dead week. I guess I'm picking the Illini in an upset though over Ohio State.
I'm not seeing that.
Under the theory,
I'm not feeling it.
Zucker wins games he's not supposed to and loses games
when the
he's
pressure's
not
off.
supposed
They
to.
win games.
Exactly. So I think he might get them this week. And Kentucky Vandy, a big game for Vandy. They need to win it to get bowl eligible.
I don't see that.
Georgia Auburn, which was supposed to be a huge game, is now an almost meaningless game, except for Auburn. They're trying to get bowl eligible. So
that's a trap game though for Georgia.
It is a trap game. But it's going to be kind of a dead week, I think, this week. But you'll see some upsets still. We know that. And it's setting up what ought to be a pretty big week next week. We've got to get that Texas Tech Oklahoma game's got to be a night game, Robbie.
Yeah, it better
be. It's got to be because we got 1:30 Citadel. We want to get home and watch it.
Yeah.
I'm demanding it. If I was commissioner of football, and Barack, I think you ought to make that a new office, and I'll do it. I'll be happy to do it. I'll do it for just double my salary here.
You have to be pro playoff though, because that's what he is.
I can be pro playoff. Okay. I'm easily
manipulated.
You
usually are, aren't you?
Well, yeah, I am.
Even though you vary from week to week.
Well, yeah, because I know there's not going to be a playoff. But if we have a commissioner of football, he can get it done. I'm promising you.
Okay.
So write your congressmen, write your senators, and we'll get that done. Until next time, which will be, of course, down at Florida Field after the Florida-South Carolina game, Pat Dooley, Robbie Andreu of the Gainesville Sun saying so long from the Sunshine State.